Thank you. And happy September. I'm thrilled for this month. Big energy this month. And what I want to explain, um, is it too late to make you a moderator, Sarah? Ah, by the time I figure something out, yeah, it'll be too late. But let's get into this right now. What I want to say is, first of all, welcome to September. We are gonna wake up tomorrow on a Sunday on a new timeline. I love when a new month actually begins on a Sunday. It's very warm, beautiful energy here. Hello, Irma. Welcome. Landing from the forest here. And what I want to say with this update is it's going to focus more on those traditional energetic themes that I channel for my energy updates, whereas August was more about that big astrology. And we had to get into it. We had the Lionsgate, we had Mercury in retrograde. There really was so much going on there. And so in this presentation, really, we are going to talk about the new moon. We also have a full moon, and then we've got the fall equinox, one of my favorite things. Oh, we have an eclipse. We are starting a new eclipse cycle. So we are going to bring in those themes. So I just want to begin with this post Mercury retrograde time. And with that said, this is integration. This is hydration. So the thing to ask yourself right now actually is, where do you have more clarity? Are your feelings about things that you felt very strong about in early August the same? Likely it's changed from this retrograde. A big thing that came through this too is like we shifted a lot in the last couple of weeks here. And so if your feelings about something are still the same, that actually means you truly care about this. You weren't influenced by any old unhealed places. So you really want to track that. I forgot to mention, but you guys already know, we have an amazing crystal of the month, and I'm going to show you guys 3 varieties of it because it is so supportive of September energy. Okay. So the way to navigate this retrograde energy right now is actually think of it this way. You are coming up for air. Okay. This is new breath. Think of this time right now as new breath. So say like you have a new wave of like life force after feeling like, okay, this is violent imagery. I'm sorry this came forward, but like underwater or like held underwater. You come up for new breath. So when you think of that, just think this, like, what's the first thing I want to do with my life now? Think of this as like you have thank you for my lamp, Irma. Last time I was like, I'm not going to interact with the chat until the end. I'm going to do questions. No, I want to hear what you guys have to say because we're having a conversation. I'm going to present to you this information. But most importantly, like what I want you to think of too is if you guys are like taking notes or you come back to this video, really think of this first week of September as like new breath of fresh air. What do I want to do with this energy? That's where you want to focus this. Okay. So what you want to do here is think, okay, new life, new timeline, new experiences. What am I going to do with this? Try something you've denied yourself. This is going to be the time to explore that. Maybe you want to be more present with a loved one, share your love with others, life-changing perspective. That's what September energy is bringing, okay? This is really important because this is about changing actually our point of attraction for the next few months. I'm actually presenting September in a certain way is because the reason why I'm going to present this in a certain way, this is a blueprint month for the next few months, okay? When we talk about the December energy update, I'm going to help you guys create a blueprint for 2025. But right now, these next few months are crucial because I talked about this in my August update. And what we actually have right now is Chiron in retrograde till December 30th. So all those big karmic wounds that are coming up, we kind of want a game plan. I'm all about flow. I don't like that. I like throwing myself into things, right? But Virgo energy, that detail, that game plan energy, that's what's supporting us. And the crystal of the month is going to help us with that too. We'll get into this in a minute. So basically, what you really want to think of is like, I'm changing my point of attraction this first week of September. And think of it too, if you want to be more present, more loving, more connected to gratitude, that energy of gratitude, that's going to be the magnet to all the new things that you're calling in these next couple months, the rest of the year. Shannon, when's your birthday? Oh, you're Virgo. I forgot. Yeah, birthday week, first week of September. Okay. I know a lot of Virgos. This is your time. This is, I'm not going to get into Mercury this update just because like I don't even think I have time. I'm going to hit some key energetic things here. Yes, we talked about retrograde, but Virgo, this is pretty cool. Oh, September 6th. Well, happy early birthday. I love that. And another thing you want to think about with this first week of like paradigm shifting is like, say you just survived a near death experience, or you just had a moment where you caught something, you go, whoa, I see life differently. Who am I? Who do I want to be? Ask these questions the first week of September. It's important. It's going to help with the integration for Mercury retrograde, but like we're going into moons and eclipse season, and you guys know we're not like manifesting during eclipse season. Eclipse energy is way too chaotic, erratic, unpredictable, and I do like that kind of energy. That's the Sag coming up, but we're not going to really focus on manifesting. I am going to tell you though, more stuff with that in the October and November updates, especially when we have 11/11, but then in the December update as well, when we talk about the winter solstice. So a lot of big things we're approaching a lot of big themes. And so you're going to be supported for that. So a few more things here. We talked about this idea of like whether you're coming up for air or we're getting a second chance, right? What you want to do is really ask yourself, like, now that I've been given this second chance to be more present and live a more vibrant life, like, what's the first thing I want to do? Be in this curious self-discovery mode. Inner child loves this. So another thing to reflect on. Okay, like I'm in this curious headspace now. This is all happening to discover joy and cultivate it in an entirely different way. The energy of eclipse season, I mentioned it's unpredictable, but joy is an element coming through. That's coming through big time. The crystal of the month is going to support that. So really think about that. If you woke up and you realize I want to do something in my life completely differently, well, where is that going to come through? Are you going to love more deeply? Where is that? Are you going to do more things that you care about, make more time for yourself? I want to check some of your comments. Oh, you don't want me to interact with people? Well, I can't help it. I have to say hi to my friends. I'm interacting with you right now. Don't worry. We'll get through this material. And, we will do a question and answer in the end. But, until we get there, think of this self-reflection time and really thinking of what you want to put back into yourself. That's key here. I love what you said, Irma. Yeah, oh, so you say you're ready. Yeah, that's eclipse season. What I want to do with this eclipse is, like, you guys know, in April, I made this entire video about the April eclipse and our claircognizance. This new cycle is going to be supported by all the different things the moon will be doing in September. Crystal month obviously will support that, but you want to lead with some optimism. If you've got a karmic lesson coming, if there's some soul contract being played out, that's going to happen. And if it's surprising, that's going to be part of the guidance and part of the lesson for you this month. This is a time, to be excited. I'll get to it in a minute. Jupiter's doing some cool stuff. What do we know about Jupiter? Oh, that's luck. That's prosperity. That's things moving in a more expansive, positive direction. So September energy's got a lot going on. We've already covered quite a few things. I haven't even gone into the eclipse here too. The biggest thing you want to look for first week of September, change in perspective. Okay. This is what's coming through in your post Mercury retrograde integration time. So what did I say? We want some hydration. We want some rest. We really want to be focused. And this kind of change in perspective, or even call it a deeper realization, that's going to hit you after the 12th. That's actually when this new eclipse cycle is going to begin. The eclipse peaks on the 17th, but really, like, that's when stuff is going to start making sense. And you're going to have even more clarity. That claircognizance message I channeled back in April is only to help you over the next couple months. Probably need it in November quite strongly. But with that said, you're entering this new eclipse cycle with so much more wisdom and confidence in the last year. And if you honestly do a reflection or self-review, I think you can see where you're more confident. I think you can sense that, or where you are more clear. So many of us have changed in the last few months. I'm going to get that into that more in a moment. And so, one of the biggest themes in September, just because we have the fall equinox on September 22nd, it's always going to be about letting go. That's a huge theme because that's what happens when we enter the best time of the year, autumn. Don't fight me on this, people who live in colder areas. I see we've already had our conversations about that. But what do we know about autumn and this innate energy that supports us in letting go? We let go because that's what the season is calling. We're not letting go by force, right? What happens in the fall with the trees? The leaves let go. It's not forced, okay? So that's what you want to think of. This is a graceful cycle of nature we're all entering. That's really how you want to approach the energy moving into the 22nd, okay? We see something falling away. Okay, we just let it, right? Think of the energy of like a ballerina, those graceful movements, or maybe like an orchestra. That's how I want you to think of this energy. So the reason we're saying this, it's like light movements, delicate, graceful movements, but so powerful, okay? That's what's going on. Irma cry in silence. Sorry, this is so funny. So you know what? With that said, too, what did I say? Something is falling away. Just let it. Hello, Karina. Nice to talk to you again. Something is falling away. We're just going to let it. We're going to be graceful. We're not forcing anything. If something is happening, then it just is. That's the nuance here with what you're letting go of in the fall. It's already going to start, now. We've already kind of had, like, I know in my client energy healing sessions with clients, we've seen a lot of things gracefully fall away. September's going to do that. So just know there's no pressure in this area. I'm stressing this because this is like a very delicate time for you. If you have been struggling with something and you're saying, okay, that's it. I've had enough. I'm going to like force this. It's just going to take longer. Okay. Let the universe do what the universe does. Exist, bring you what you need to in divine timing. You really want to think of divine timing as a massive theme here in September. I think it's really going to support you guys. I know it is. So with that said here, this letting go process, how difficult it will depend on what your Chiron is doing. So, ask your astrologer friends, or if you have your chart, go see what it's doing here. I mentioned, what will individually come up for us depends on your karmic path. Okay. What are the old wounds that are reoccurring for you that you are finally really getting into and healing? This is key for September as well, because this stuff is being processed for resolution. When I talked about leaves like gently falling and letting go, you just want to keep this in mind, really for the rest, because like for the rest of a few months, what I mean by this is like, I want you to feel really supported in these next couple months with the next few energy updates. And so why am I, having this conversation about this like delicate letting go and falling away? Well, we're shedding collectively, this layer of skin. There's this new awareness coming in. Let's look at the snake when it transforms and sheds its skin. This is happening individually, collectively. So really just focus on that, what that's going to look like for you. I mentioned the blueprint month. That's what we want to think of September. So basically, this is your time to show the universe how disciplined and intentional you are. Really think about that. How focused are you on your goals? Winter is coming, Elizabeth, and I will prepare you for that. My winter solstice video will prepare you for that. So winter is coming. We're letting go. We are transforming. We are shedding our skin. So what I mentioned, why you want to show the universe you're very intentional and focused on your goals, is because Virgo energy. Best of Virgo, meticulous, detailed oriented, disciplined. This is where you will shine, Virgo. We know that, but we all need to learn this. Like if you're an earth sign, you're pretty good with this. The rest of us, we need to show up with structure. That's what's happening in September. Structure, blueprint. It will make everything easier. It's very hard for me, honestly. This is where I struggle. I go, nope, just jump into things, fire, burn it down if I don't like it. No, there's some important discipline that's going to come through. That needs to come through for all of us, okay, for our collective healing. That's what we're doing. So listen, if you start a project, you don't abandon it halfway. That's what I'm telling you with this energy. This is going to be a hyper productive time um, for a lot of us, and this is about your future self. Just thanking you. On winter solstice, you can form your new 2025 template. I'm going to get into this way more detailed, but trust me, like you want this structure, and then this is going to lead us to the next major theme: intuition. Massive theme this month with what the moon is doing. Your intuition will ramp up in September. Moon energy is so strong in so many areas of our life. It informs our cycles, right? It informs, you know, how we even flow through life, what we're like shedding. But what you really want to know here, and the reason I kind of want to get into this later, is because the crystal of the month is all about intuition, but this is really the time to like trust yourself. Like so much so, it's already going to naturally happen for you by the time you get deeper into, I want to say, the last week of September. That's the big hit I'm getting with this too. But like intuition will ramp up. Massive theme. Things that help you cultivate it. Just practice what yes feels like in your body, what no feels like in your body. If you are an avid tarot reader, this is a good month to, um, develop that as a skill and practice more like intuitive reading. Okay, intuitive gifts, if you want to cultivate them for a healing practice or whatever. September, yep, that's when you start it. Divine feminine energy, massive theme here. I'm actually going to get into this, of course, later with the crystal of the month, which we will do very soon. The reason I say this is because this is actually the time for that yin energy to come forward, the receptivity. Okay. The listening, the intuition, the emotion, the stillness. Stillness is massive. We need to cultivate that. September energy is going to support that. So let's jump into some specific dates here. I think they're super important. I'm going to get a sip of my pink cauldron tea. 1 second. I hope you guys all have your tea here. I see some of the comments here about Pisces. Yeah. Pisces, you're gonna enjoy the moon coming up. So September 2nd, draw your attention, new moon in Virgo. Who's already feeling that moon energy? I was really just like focusing on this today. Then like an hour before this, I got hit with that first emotional wave. I went, oh, there it is. Yeah, I have a Cancer rising. So that's why I feel this big time. So basically, this is the new moon of new routine. Okay. New routine, new projects, new long-term goals. You're in it for the long run. New health goals. Introducing new health habits. That's what you want to think about. Are you already doing this? You might already start doing this. This was something that actually came up for me around the Lionsgate. So I kind of got a head start on this and cultivating that energy. But that's a big theme coming through. And so basically the energy coming through from this moon is to support commitment. Okay. Commitment to the long-term goals and tasks. Really think about this. Like, what are you building now? So this is where you would map out and get like really organized and say, okay, this is how I want to go about things. Financial goals, work goals, whatever you're building in your life, right? Virgo energy of being like organized, meticulous, like I said, those details, detail oriented, focus. Like we need to learn how to keep track of things like Virgos do, but not like in a psychotic way. Sorry. Had to. I'm teasing you. A couple of you guys got mad because I posted a meme yesterday making a joke about which signs are psycho. I didn't make it, but I can feel you guys all mad about it. So now I'm going to tease you because that's what I do. So be meticulous, but don't force things, okay? Don't force things if it's not working. That's where intuition comes in and goes, you know what? It's not going to work out that way. I'm going to do it a different way, okay? That's what you need to know. Also know this new moon is ruled by Jupiter. Yes, yes, Jupiter. Anytime Jupiter is involved, what do we know? Auspicious, lucky, expansive. That's why I said have this this air of positivity. I cheer up as soon as it's September, okay? I'm already in that space, okay? September 1st, what does that mean tomorrow? It means no one can say anything to you for drinking anything pumpkin, and that's what you're going to do. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. But see, I've introduced new health routines, so I'll be making all of my pumpkin spice lattes. And just so you guys know, I know I make a lot of silly like pumpkin spice latte jokes online. I'm never talking about Starbucks. Okay? Horrible corporation, Also, if you know coffee, their coffee tastes burnt and disgusting. So make it yourself, support something local and conscious when I mention that too. It's very interesting. One thing I'll mention, I will save the October update for more of my pumpkin love, but the ingredients like cloves and cinnamon and nutmeg are known historically to ward off evil spirits. So if you don't like those in your drinks, I mean, just saying. So that's my piece on that. Okay, couple things, like let's really get into this now. So September 17th. Okay, we talked about the moon, Pisces full moon, partial lunar eclipse. Let's sit with that. Pisces full moon. This is what will be helpful for all of us. Reflect back to when we had that new moon. So think about 6 months ago. Where were you 6 months ago? What was going on in your life? What was the major theme you were struggling with? What were you realizing about yourself? 6 months later, do you have more clarity on what was going on? Your life may have rapidly shifted in April after that massive eclipse. That's a bit sorry, I got distracted. Yes, Irma, I had to. How much did your life shift? Okay. This, like, I'm really honing in on this. I want you to measure how much your life has changed and where you are. You might have more clarity on some issues, right? Or just really understand your needs better. Like, what is more important to you? This is key for what you're creating in the next few months. That's what happens with these cycles, Like I said, I don't, my older energy updates, I'm not always talking about the moon, what it's doing. I'm just channeling what those energetic themes are. But this is a monumental year for shifting and healing. 2025, same thing. So I want you guys to feel really supported, and that like you are engaging with the stars, that you're not just being influenced and not really like understand you know what's going on, without just like being thrown into the motions of something. Like, you guys have that claircognizance and that intuition you've been integrating for so long, and this is the time to put it to the test in September with any decisions that you'll be making here. Okay, so I said I want you to understand your needs. I do feel like my life has shifted so much in the last 6 months. I have different priorities. I feel like, I know I don't even know how this is possible, but I feel like more spiritual, if that makes sense. And I didn't think it was possible. I'm already like there. But anyways, Pisces full moon, that's going to bring this out. I feel more like a Pisces now. I feel like that's really happening. The Pisces full moon is going to bring up even more from the subconscious for us. So you're going to see those priorities for self-care and self-development shift even more. Like, just that's what I want you to like kind of focus on. That's what's energetically happening, right? Now, a couple of things with this, like with the partial lunar eclipse and what's going on with eclipse season, this is about saying, okay, let what needs to be illuminated from the shadow just be illuminated. Okay. We're just going to let that happen. We are just going to let that come up. Sag is the Pisces of fire signs. Absolutely. That is so perfectly phrased and true. I definitely feel that. And, we want to bring in, like, Pisces is such a great teacher, like the mysticism, the flow, like this moon is going to really activate that. I feel like your interests are going to shift deeper into your own spiritual work that you're doing for yourself. So many of us, like so many light workers, what we do, we share, we give. That's going to happen automatically. But truly, like this Pisces, yes, between the moon, but then what's going on with the eclipse, like that's going to bring in a lot of I don't want to say heaviness in a scary way. When I say the shadow is going to be illuminated, you're just going to learn deeper about yourself. You're going to have more information about yourself. We're here to learn, we're here to expand. We have Jupiter energy coming in to help us with that too. So a lot of shifting in September. And if you're not happy with where you are in your life, this is great to hear. You have energetic support to change and create new habits and actually see that stuff come to fruition by the end of December. That's what's going on with this. And so, things are going to come up. Let them. What did we talk about? Fall energy. Okay, something's coming up to let go. It's going to. And then we learn, we let go, we start a new cycle. New cycle is a theme in September. Big, important, energetic theme we're talking about. And so I mentioned, we're not manifesting with eclipse energy. It's very, erratic, chaotic, unpredictable. This eclipse is going to shake things up in your life in a good way. Like I said, you know why? It's wild card energy. That's why. That's why I say this in a good way. Sometimes we're afraid of things being shaken up, but we think we can control and resist that. It's going to get shaken up anyway. My life dramatically changed after that April eclipse. I was like, okay, I have no choice but to surrender to this. And so when I say wild card energy, remember that can show up positively. Okay. Exciting wild card. Think of, you guys play Uno as kids, right? We used that wild card violently. We used it. Um, we used it to start drama and wars with our families, right? This is a positive wild card. I'm just saying that. Okay. I'm just going to put that out there. Okay. Because even if something feels like your life is being shaken up, it's for alignment. That's why it's positive. We're engaging with this. We don't know what's going to happen next. Are you afraid when you hear that you don't know what's going to happen next? Like, that's the journey, right? Maybe that can be exciting. A big thing that comes up in my healing sessions with clients is balancing our orientation to the unknown, right? So I always remind them, like, positive surprises can happen, right? From the universe. So keep that space open, especially in September. That's the big takeaway with this energy. I always like to think, okay, this is a wild card energy. It will be in my favor, better than I can expect. Maybe I need to bring in that I'm just called to share that sort of Sagittarian perspective, right? But like I said, like, if you have direct experience of being faced with this energy and it shook things up for you, I think you can also see how it redirected you, right? It's going to be very powerful. Yeah, and Pisces moons are powerful in an intense yet subtle way. I'm excited for this one. This is, and like I said, you don't have to really like do anything. You're just going to let things come up for you. That's what you want to know. And you know what, too? Like, when something aligns you for the better and you don't know how, like, it's not our job to know how sometimes, you know? That's what actual flow is. We're going to let the eclipse come up, right? We're going to let the moons come up. We're just going to flow and just be open to what it reveals. And we're going to trust our intuition, let that guide us. That's what's really going on here. So draw attention to those. You know about them. September 22nd, Fall Equinox. Some call it the autumnal equinox. I just say fall equinox. This is one of my favorite times of the year. Okay, it's going to be on a Sunday, which is just warm and dreamy and beautiful. And then we have the start of Libra season. My first tip for this energy is to please watch my fall equinox activation video. Okay, this is one of my favorite videos ever made. It feels like you're just putting on a warm sweater, you have that cup of tea or coffee, you feel that inner warmth inside. It's an activation for a reason. This is going to support your subconscious, but really it's going to activate that sense of letting go, where it's automatic, it's not scary, it's a delicate dance of the season. So think of this as a gentle shift into the season. That's how you really want to view it with, the start of Libra season, because it is for harmony. It is for balance, right? And also a big theme is justice. Justice is coming up in a lot of arenas in the world, and so we want justice obviously to be in the favor of the people who are suffering, right? We want justice for the collective. We want it for ourselves individually. This might come up for you. So if you have some of those old Chiron wounds where something felt really unfair and you were treated unfairly, this is going to come up to be processed around the time of the equinox. So, that's a lot of energy we're working with. So you're going to be fully supported in this too. And you know what? I explain in my fall equinox video the importance of the season. Night and day are about equal length here. And, the ancients celebrated this as the start of the fall season. This is very important for them. It's about honoring cycles, right? Honoring what we're releasing. And also, like, it represents the balance, the transformation, the merging of past, present, future, very quantum energy, all in the single moment of just stillness. That's what it is. That moment of stillness we get. So stillness, just kind of, I'm kind of closing my eyes and kind of guiding this right now. If you guys would all humor me for a minute, just kind of drop into your body, your breath. Just think of something you're grateful for in this exact moment. You got it? Okay. You feel that stillness? You can feel it. Oh, I'm feeling you guys do it massively. Okay, be in that space. You see that? You see how quick and easy you just interacted with the quantum? Fall equinox supports this energy. The energy has gotten so still in my room. I'm afraid I'm merging with this light that's in front of me. So I'm going to take a moment, but I think you guys are even going to feel this. Those of you watching this on the replay, how important that is. Let me get a sip of water here. Also, fall equinox, it awakens, it ignites our just kind of innate desire and ability just to let go of things that are old, grow into something new. And this is a time to focus on the inner self. That's what's going on here. This is what we really want to do here. So I'm seeing, I love these messages that you guys are saying. Yeah, flow, alignment. Yeah, beautiful. This is so exciting too, because when we meet in this way and almost, we can interact in this way and do sort of like group activations. I think when you get that recognition in your body and field of, wow, I feel really still or really calm or connected right now. These are some of those positive things that affirm all the work that we're all doing. And it's not that we need that external validation, but it's pretty cool when you can tap in and get still like that and feel others around you doing it. See, that's the power we hold. That's why I talk about the things I do and I teach the way I do. Look at how quickly we interface right now with the quantum. So that was 1 second, by the way. When we're on retreat and I take the group up into the quantum field, it's amazing the group momentum and energy that happens when we connect in the field and do journey work. So, if you are interested in any of the retreats that I teach on, I'll post all of those updates on my different accounts here. So, with that said, I mentioned the start of Libra on the 22nd, and you know what? Yeah, I want to point out that comment. We were all harmonizing in the same space and time. Thank you for that, Shannon. I'm glad you guys felt that. It's the power of what we can do. That's how we shift. That's how we use frequency and energy to positively shift this experience for so many people. So, what that exercise just told me was that we need to do some group meditations and activations on these lives. See, I'm getting comfortable. I'm getting cozy now. That's what we need to do together. So, because thank you for your participation, because I felt that shift. And now I'm like, okay, this is what we're going to do now moving forward on our lives. So we're making our way through this update. We're almost to the crystal of the month, but as you can see, there's a lot of cool things to work with in September. So let's talk about the start of Libra season 2 with the equinox as well. Lots of harmony. Okay. This is the time where we're creating balance in all areas of life. So if you have to have like a maybe like uncomfortable discussion with someone, maybe it's like work, this is the time where diplomacy will be supported. So approach something with that energy. And, with compromise, we're not going into like self sacrifice. We're not doing that empaths, right? But there's more harmony and balancing. So this is where we're just mindful of our communication, because our energy will support that coming together, that sort of sense of harmony there too. And this will be honoring each other's needs and then just being open, very professionally open and in anything you're working through. I'm getting more of a hit that this is like in work career, but this is always going to show up in those interpersonal relationships as well. And the best part of anything is that, like, if you're not being met halfway in a discussion, in some sort of like relationship, well, then you know what? Let them go, because fall equinox energy is going to accelerate that process. So if that's easy and natural for you, that's going to happen. But if you are being met with that compromise, that's really great for what you're building here. Listen, the theme is warmth for the fall equinox and the start of Libra season and overall September in the fall. The theme is warmth, but my advice is if you have to turn up the fire, go for it, right? That's my advice. Fire, then burn it down. It's not working for you, right? Fire is a purification, right? It also can amplify. It can shift a lot of things, right? We use it when we imprint intentions into the field. But with that said, fall energy is going to support something that says, you know what? I gave this person, I gave this, I don't know, business venture. I don't know what humans do. I have a very alien job. Anyway, I gave this time and energy. I'm not being met halfway. fall equinox energy, I want to release this. Boom. There you go. That is very important because September energy, with all the moons, does represent new cycles. So if you are ready for a new cycle, use the fire to get it started, like I just said, or, tap into that harmonious, slow letting go of that energy. The big takeaway, too, that I want to say for September is if we want like a little cheat sheet, like September equals subconscious. Lots of subconscious stuff will come up from the moons. Actually, even with the fall equinox, because we are going to be releasing a lot of things that we held on to, but also just pay attention for like who or what wants to program you. Does that make sense? Be aware of the media you're consuming. This is a big time, right? Leading up to November. I don't even like talking about it, honestly. I think it's ridiculous. But point being is things fight for our subconscious to program us. So if we know that that's happening and we know that we're using our subconscious to do shadow work and heal ourselves, well, we want to just be very aware of what we're letting into our worlds too. But also know we positively program the subconscious. I actually mentioned this in my September energy update a year ago, where I said when you fall asleep at night, like that's when you can program yourself. So you say things like, I'm healthy, I'm abundant, I am love, like those positive statements that you want to re-imprint your subconscious with. Do that again this year. It's the perfect thing to make sure you're falling asleep with that sense of clarity versus say like you fall asleep and you're watching something and you have like weird dreams or you're just consuming stuff that's really intense and has a lot of programming. Well, remember to rewrite that for yourself. And so that is really like the heart of the biggest themes here. I am going to talk about divine feminine energy and yin energy now, but before I do that, before we even get to that, the whole point of that is, well, we have a crystal of the month that's going to support that. So are you guys ready for the crystal of the month? I have a few. So we're gonna let me get them all going now. Okay. So I'm actually wearing it here. And I attempted to wear it on a bracelet that didn't want to cooperate. So let's go. Crystal of the month. You guys know what this is? It's moonstone. The crystal of the month is moonstone. So take a moment. Yes, take a moment. Sorry, the ring lights. I'm still figuring out where YouTube wants me to put this camera. Okay, there you go. Moonstone. Beautiful, right? This is rainbow moonstone. We are going to start with that. Let's see. Yes, we should have a t-shirt that says fire, burn it down. So let's talk about moonstone. This will support actually Virgo and Libra. So it's perfect. Let me just say, we're going to get into moonstone. When I started doing the crystals of the month, I was, getting ready to film and then I was wearing something and I went, oh, you need to tell them about this. So it just happened that way. My higher self was like, okay, now we're doing a crystal of the month. So it would come to me as soon as I would prepare to film a video and start channeling it. On the big eclipse, what was that, the 8th of April? Can't remember anymore. When I was working, so I was aware, I was looking at the clock. And when the eclipse was in the path of totality over Los Angeles, I complete psychic open up channel. I could hear so much information. And then I just heard my higher self just tell me, just like a stream, all the crystals of the month for the rest of the year. So I just said, okay, I wrote down September moonstone. I bonded with this. I've hung out with it all month to give you my own energetic read. And then I did some research on this because I wanted to know, well, how is this used physically? And it all makes sense why it's coming up this month. So rainbow moonstone, you are going to find because it's the more popular one because it has the highest potency, highest vibrational state of moonstone. So it's like the strongest energy of moonstone. I love that you have that as a pendulum. And I picked it, if you noticed last time I did another crystal ball, sphere is going to emanate energy equally. The shapes of the crystals matter. I was called to do it for moonstone, but also it literally looks like the moon, right? And the ancients at the time gave this the name moonstone because it reminded them of the reflection, of the shimmer of the moon. Very beautiful stone. And I will say, in my life, I never actually really was drawn to it. I never really bought it. So this has actually been, I'm getting comfortable now. Sorry, guys. I just want to relax. This has been a journey for me to explore moonstones. I've got the rainbow moonstone here. Got it. I've got it on my ring somewhere. Yeah, I went all out to get a read, my take on this. So you guys, I know a lot of you retreat attendees are watching this. I actually bought this in Sedona. I was telling Irma, I was like, I got to go get a crystal ball. It's for work. And I meant it. This is for work. So few things here. I didn't know moonstone supports like the balancing of like hormones, and it makes sense that it supports for women like support like during, PMS symptoms, but it actually helps with men too with their hormones. And I say this because I slept next to this yesterday and I've been sweating like crazy. I'm like, what is going on? I usually run more cold. I don't know. That's funny. I'm going to laugh about that later. But anyway, sweating. I'm like, it's doing something. It's activating something. If you want this to relieve stress, so you would actually go like under your foot, there's like where that crevice is, like where the ball of the foot is. I actually had to write this down to tell you, but people use this, like they'll kind of massage roll on this to relieve stress from their body. Moonstone is going to be your stone for that. Let me show you the variations. We're going to get into the details because this is very important for this month. This we have is peach moonstone. Okay. This one is very, sorry guys. Yeah. This one's very popular. You're going to see more gray. You see it? Very common to see it with gray. And then I want to show you guys, I was actually drawn to this. I never knew why. I bought this like a while ago. Black moonstone. Okay. Take a moment with the black moonstone. You get the qualities of moonstone with energetic protection. That's what the black part of the crystal is going to do for you. If you do not want to absorb people's negativity, go with this. And I actually bought two because this is how empathic I am. I couldn't separate them. I almost started crying when I was like, no, they're together. They're family. They're friends. They need each other. You have to take them both. And they love each other. Okay. So let's get into moonstone. I mean, we're focusing on all three. I might spend more time. I do think black moonstone is my color on the rainbow because I do want to share a few more things. Because if we think about rainbow too, it's about like activating that like rainbow light body, full spectrum of light. I realized I didn't really like give you guys a minute to like, really watch this one, really take this one in. I'm wearing rainbow as the jewelry here. And moonstone is known as the talisman for the inward journey. Inward. What does fall represent too? Going within, that stillness energy. That's what this whole collection is going to support here. A few more things with this too. So like I mentioned why I picked a sphere for this. I want energy to flow equally. If you use like a pyramid, it's got more of like a transmitter thing going on here. For like the ultimate crystal layout, if you're picking one crystal, what you want to do is get those different shapes. So a sphere, a pyramid, a point, or an obelisk, that's going to create a whole little generator in your space. I can go into more detail like in another video with how to use crystals in certain ways, but go with what you're drawn to. As you can see, more of the moon looking shapes here is what I've got going on here. Moonstone helps lucid dreaming. So moon, we get that. That makes perfect sense with the subconscious, especially around the full moon. So have moonstone for you around the full moon. Have it around you, sleep next to it. See if that brings anything too. And also why sometimes people will use a crystal ball too is because like it represents seeing through all the past, present, future timelines. When people say like when they make these characters and they're like, okay, crystal ball, I can see your future. The sphere shape actually is about seeing through the future. The sphere shape is the quantum. I work in the quantum sphere, past, present, future, emitting that energy, accessing it equally. So it represents moving through time, getting information from different points of time, which is literally what I do for a living. So there you go. I'm drawn to the spheres. What else? Yin. Let's talk about yin energy, divine feminine energy here. So yin energy is stillness, feminine energy, tranquility. When we are yin, what does that mean? We can withstand the storms of life, right? Like think of how solid we are when we are in that tranquil, beautiful space here. Sorry, I'm just checking in on some of these comments here. I'm so happy you like the rainbow. So I have a little like thing that can like really help you with this. When we talk about this, like look at the imagery. I like to do things as I describe them. When you guys see me close my eyes, that's what's happening. Picture a mountain. What's a mountain? Just look at a mountain. Durable, like stable, emitting so much life force and chi weighted into the earth, right? Safe, settled. Think of mountain energy for a minute, right? Like solid. I can feel you guys getting still again. I love this. This is what you want to do. When you feel anxious, just close your eyes, just visualize a mountain, okay? Go with what comes to you and really like attune yourself to that solid energy. Look at that mountain, interact with it. You can use for this exercise like a imagery of a mountain you're familiar with, Mount Everest or I want to say Shasta, but then when I think of Shasta, I think of Telos, I think of Lemuria, I think of all the ETs living underneath. I guess that does ground me in a way. Yeah, I do feel safe and still and connected to the feminine energy when I think of that mountain. It's very easy for me to feel into more like the lucidity and that like higher galactic energy and kind of drift off. But I'm going to use Shasta. So, Sam, that's what I'm looking for. And I think of it like the power of that and that in the ground. But like I said, use the imagery of something that feels solid for you, attune. That's going to be a little tip to work with some anxious energy. The reason I'm bringing this up, well, I want you to like know how to use these crystals in that way and use it to calm yourself. But also, moonstone brings you that solid, that calm. And you might think like, well, moon energy is kind of like intense, erratic. No, like moon, this is going to help with that. This is about the cycles, about the calm, about getting that information from that space. Okay. That's why like I was like, okay, I see why we want to talk about this in September, because we do have the eclipse and we have that kind of energy in general with all the moonstones. For feng shui, it's used for opening up intuition. So I mentioned intuition as a theme of September that came through. Well, this is why, and this is the crystal that's going to support it. It's for clairvoyance, psychic abilities. When I did research on some other moonstones that I wasn't familiar with, all of them support clairvoyance. People book sessions saying, I want to be clairvoyant. I want to see stuff. That's something that is either a gift or something you cultivate through awakenings and activations. Well, this is the stone to have then, if that's what you want to develop, right? Go with the one that's drawn to, go with the one you're drawn to because of all the different variations of the moonstone, right? The thing is, like, what's kind of cool too is it's in the same family as labradorite. Kind of makes sense with the shimmer. So you're going to get that whole galactic astral connection element, but this one is very balancing, introspective, and the energy of it like is literally lunar. So you're going to get the support of like the different cycles of what you're moving through in your life. September, I mentioned, we talked about those new cycles at the beginning of this update, right? With being detailed and meticulous. Have moonstone around you when you're making those big plans. It supports like the changing structures of our life too. So we think of moonstone as like, I'm going to hold this now, a stone of new beginning. That's what it's going to support. We talked about the new cycles, the new beginnings. I think you're getting more of the color here too. Moonstone labradorite combo would be amazing. Moonstone actually harmonizes really well with moldavite, guys. So makes sense. They're both like, galactic crystals, right? So also amethyst. Amethyst is a good one. Obviously, we just said labradorite, amethyst. I've heard some people recommend to actually, like a doctor recommended that you charge your moonstone in an amethyst geode. That's the coolest thing I've ever heard. So I like to charge things, obviously, in my selenite plates, I think I talked about, or with Palo Santo, but there you go. So a few more things with this. This is about bringing into like galactic evolved energies of other star systems into this star system. So yeah, we have a crystal trinity indeed, Irma. That's what we have. This is a stone about even realizing you're in a new beginning, because you're actually seeing the fruits of your labor from the older thing you were working on. So those fruits of your labor are the new beginning. Does that make sense? That's kind of nuanced, but That's what moonstone does. That's how powerful it is. This will help you get information from your own intuition, from your own emotions. So all of them too. It's known to clear obstacles and it's recommended for travelers. So they say like if you're going to a new country and you want like smooth transition, say you don't speak the language, wear a rainbow moonstone bracelet. That's going to really help with this too. In ancient times, so I was like, well, how did the ancients understand moonstone? Because this is very important because of how many cultures are formed around the energy of the moon. It was actually an ancient remedy for insomnia and also for menstrual symptoms too. It brings in like I said, like stability. When I had you guys think of like the mountain, think of that stability, but also hormone health for women and men. I think I just mentioned that, but that's something that like I want to really like kind of drill home for the men who are watching this. Moonstone is a divine feminine stone. It's very yin, but it is the medicine for integrating and activating your own feminine energy. Where in your life you need to be more nurturing, nourishing, and really show up with yourself with more unconditional love. Like that's what's going to help you balance your feminine energy too. And in India, like a lot of it does come from India. It's known as like the stone for lovers too. They say, oh, it can bring them back together, or it's good for a traditional wedding gift. And it's also good to give to somebody as a present to celebrate a new beginning. So that's how you want to look at it too. Like if you want to give this to someone who is getting like a new job, hello, Dan. That's what it's going to do. And it's stunning. Like you saw the different variations right now. Rainbow moonstone is known as the goddess stone, right? Vibrates divine feminine wisdom and energy. So just like I talk with my hands when I'm about to really get into it. Yes. Yes, feel that. It connects to that the feminine wisdom of like the goddess energy, but from your past lives. If you're doing past life regression work too, absolutely have rainbow moonstone. You want to be connected to this. It also helps you connect to the spirits of nature. So if you go into the forest and when you want to commune with those spirits, it helps with communication between those worlds. Super powerful. And when we think about like it helps harmonize the masculine and the feminine, we call that the alchemical wedding when we harmonize and we marry our divine feminine with our divine masculine and we create that unconditionality, that support, that complete openness, right? With the way we show up in structure, in boundaries, when we balance both spirit, right, and logic, and we have those worlds together. That's what this stone represents. That's why this crystal's for everybody. It's so important. It promotes, like in men, it activates the right side of the brain too, so that they can activate their nonlinear thinking and create more emotional balance. So I would honestly recommend wearing this. It's beautiful in jewelry. You're going to find it that way. It also is known, I may have mentioned, to hold like full moon energy. It's going to connect you to those rhythmic, natural moon cycles. So, well, I mean, it's in the name, moonstone, right? So there you go. We're affected emotionally by the moon. So if you think about it, like wear it, you won't turn into a werewolf, basically. Where does the word lunatic come from? Lunar tick, super intense, crazy moon energy, right? If you feel a little triggered or activated by the full moons, hey, moonstone, that's where it comes from, right? Moon energy is always going to say, I don't know why I did that to my hair. Sorry. Pay attention to whatever cycle of life you are in. That's what this crystal is going to support too, as well. But it's also saying celebrate your cycles, celebrate all the milestones, like really engage with this too. This is about patience, divine timing. What did we talk about in September? Well, divine timing. So it's funny how these things align. Like I said, I did not really know, hey, what crystal are we doing? I kind of feel into it. I work with it. I get my own insight about it. But basically, the biggest thing that I got here is that this is really going to support all the intuitive work. So if you are a reader in any space, this is great to wear because not only does it like enhance those psychic abilities, you're going to feel really stable emotionally when you have this around you. You're going to give a clear, solid reading. You're just going to be more objective. So, we want that, right? And too, like this is good for dream work. It makes sense with the subconscious too. it's said to be like the keeper, they say, of the feminine mysteries, right? We see the hidden truths within ourselves, like reflected within us. It brings out the reflection. Moonstone is reflective. It's said that it reveals like whatever the missing puzzle pieces in our lives for us to like figure something out. So it could be a soul need of yours that you forgot. Now it's come up for integration. So that's why it's so powerful. I would say too, like if you want to book like a healing session with me, you're not quite sure like what you want to work on or what's the next best thing you want to discover about yourself. Moonstone, it'll bring that awareness forward. That's why you want to work with it too. It's saying something is mysterious. I know I'm moving into something I don't know. I need some clues. Sleep next to this. Bring this in. Also, it does represent joy too. It's like the rainbow, the full like spectrum of emotions is like what it can also represent, but the harmonizing and the balancing of that, right? And so this also is said to like really speak to you and help you stay in your truth. If you're being pressured by any sort of outside influence or person, that's why you want to focus on this. When I worked with Moonstone, for me, it brought forward inner child energy, joy, excitement, creativity, the fun part of discovering a mystery too. And so that, I mean, inner child work is always something I'm going to bring up in any update that I give, right? Activating the rainbow light body is something I did mention earlier. Why do we want this? This is our vehicle for us in our consciousness and how it travels. Okay. So rainbow moonstone, bring it in for that. I did mention amethyst, right? And moldavite. So we already kind of talked about that. Quartz, if you combine this with quartz, it'll just amplify lasting effects too. And then we're going to experiment and we're going to charge it in an amethyst geode. I guess that's what we're doing. So I did spend most of the time on rainbow. I got excited. It happens. With peach, this supports the heart. This is actually really good if you have kids who are very sensitive to energy, empathic, intuitive. This will really help them regulate their emotions. That's what peach moonstone is known for. It's also known for prosperity. I like this piece. I think I got this. No, I got this from my friend's showroom. This one is about new beginnings too. Yeah. Yeah, I can feel this with it. This is a new beginning stone. It's gentle, it's loving, it's positive. It's good for worry and anxiety. Very sensitive. For I mentioned too, for like kids who are empathic, like it's very soothing for them. Sometimes, you know, with these higher vibrational kids who incarnate, all the crystal babies, it's so hard for them to adjust to like the lower frequencies of the planet because they have higher frequencies. That's why they actually are drawn to crystals because this like this matches them, matches their freak, so to speak. It matches that higher vibrational place that, you know, sorry, I'm getting restless. Higher vibrational place that they come from that they are trying to activate here. So just a few more things too. So basically, that's peach moonstone. Now, I was immediately drawn to black moonstone when I saw this. I didn't really show this piece off as much. This, I believe, came from Madagascar. A lot of it comes from there. So, you know, I feel like, I don't know, I'm starting to get you guys are more interested in this one. Yeah. Well, energetic protection against all negative energy. This is for your aura. This will protect your aura. Rainbow reflects the aura, will protect it too. All of them will offer energy protection, but with the black energy, yeah, that's reflective. That's what's happening with this part of the crystal. And nothing's going to get in. It's kind of like black tourmaline, you know, with the way it repels negative energy and influences. So if you want that extra support, grid with it. Definitely use it. And then, you know, you can also pair it with those same other crystals that I mentioned too. I'm getting to pair this with some obsidian and shungite. Mhm. I actually am. I'm not giving away next month's crystal of the month, but I do want to focus on EMF protection next month. So I will bring in something for that to, you know, just like call that in. So basically, too, like this protects the emotional body. That's what you want. You get the calming energy of Moonstone, but you know what it says? Back off. Don't mess with me. You know, like that's it. I'm calm. I'm cool, but don't come into my space. This is for your energetic boundaries. Great stone for empaths. Crystals usually are, but like you want to work with this and some amethyst too if you're highly sensitive to energy. So it's said to carry black moonstone with you if you're going through a breakup, having interpersonal issues with someone, because you're feeling their stress. You're trying to hold space for them too. You're trying to understand, you're trying to get resolution, but it helps with like kind of staying objective and not taking on their energy. So that's why, people really like the Black Moonstone. I love it. I'm actually getting more interested in it as I talk about it. So there's that. I'm glad that like you're saying you want them all. But yeah, like you're getting that need for it this month too, because you can feel that. You can feel what it's supporting. It's supporting all those things we talked about earlier. And one thing I do want to mention with the Black Moonstone too, with when I said, want to carry this with you. If you're going through something with someone very close to you, or maybe it's a breakup, it's because like the kind of protection for this is for like dealing with like whatever like toxic energy or stress is coming off of someone else. Like if they're throwing that at you, or if they don't even know that they're emitting that energy. What happens is when you love somebody, you are going to subconsciously lower your guard around them because you love them, you care for them. What can happen is you are then lowering that like boundary, and a lot of that energy that you don't want, that's not supportive for you, that may be negative in some form, you're saying, okay, I'll hold it for you, right? Majority of my sessions is just clearing this stuff out of people's space so that they can know what they feel like. So, you go through whatever conflict resolution you're going to go through with this stone so that you can hold space but not absorb. So, if I could like assign something just for empaths, yeah, Black Moonstone. So this will help you just, like I said, hold space, not absorb toxicity. So a few more things to wrap up with Moonstone, and then I want to answer some questions for you guys. Moonstone, you can place it on the solar plexus to draw out old emotions, really old emotional, like we call it patterning. That's how I see it. It's the patterning. This is just going to bring in some clarity. So it's going to get you nice and clear. So it's going to support your stomach if you took on too much stuff and it's giving you a stomach ache. That's how you want to use it too. Other than that, one thing I didn't expect Moonstone to have this much importance. Sorry to say, I didn't know. I didn't know it would be this great. Like I said, I bonded with it for about a month. It was helping me like detox, and I did some like more research on it in terms of like Eastern medicine. And I learned that like white is the color of like Moonstone. You'll see it like this, right? White. And it's actually associated with the lungs because historically the lungs are associated with the moon. I didn't know that. That's awesome, right? So it's going to direct lung chi down to the kidneys. So people use this when they're healing like kidney, lung issues too. It's great for jet lag too, and for just entering new environments. So kind of wrap up on all of the things with Moonstone. Start of a new life cycle. Like I said, give it to somebody celebrating something new. It attracts opportunities. Great for artists and musicians with creativity blocks. This will invite more creativity into your life. And hold the stone with you in your hand or a bracelet if you're entering like an unfamiliar territory. Can be actual like travel, like foreign travel, but also a new area of life. New job, you name it. Like if you have to learn how to run something from the ground up, if you need to learn like new rules or a system, this is perfect for those smooth transitions, right? It's about easing transitions for you. That's why it's so important. So I mentioned where to put Moonstone when you're healing something physically. It said the depression that's under the bottom of the foot, behind the what is it? The ball of the foot. That's where you put it. It induces like instant relaxation. So that's how you can work with it. It's an amazing stone. Let's do a recap, and then I just want to go into the question and answer. So, like I said, I didn't really expect Moonstone to be this moonstony, right? Like there was so much information I found on ancient traditions and what it brings forward. But if you need to just summarize it, because now you guys are an expert and someone says, what can I use for intuition, clairvoyance, and activating my feminine energy and connecting to goddess energy and the divine feminine and accessing past life divine feminine information, whether it's from Lemuria, whether it's from old incarnations where you were, an energy worker, where you were working with goddess energy, go to Moonstone. If you want some protection, go to Black Moonstone. If you want a little bit of softness, more heart energy, go to Peach Moonstone. That's it. And so what do we know? To recap September, a graceful, beautiful letting go. We are already integrating for Mercury retrograde that's happening. We're going to let the dead leaves fall. We're not going to force anything. We're going to be aware of the eclipse energy. We're going to stay positive. We're going to enter those new cycles. We're going to be disciplined. We're going to work towards more balance, more harmony. We're not afraid of any erratic eclipse energy. We're just welcoming some new beginnings, all while, celebrating the warmth of the fall, letting go, releasing, and of course, your pumpkin spice beverage. There you go. Mic drop. That is September. Any questions for me? Let's go. Anyone at all? Okay, then. I mean, if you don't have questions, I'm going to go to dinner. So I'm just kidding. Let me give you a minute to kind of process that. It's a lot of fun stuff. I'm taking it as if you guys don't have any questions, you kind of get a sense of what's going on. Do you have any questions spiritually on any other topic? Or are we all in stillness and maybe we just want to get off this live and relax and meditate? So it looks like you guys don't have any questions for me unless I'm not seeing them. Give me a minute. Let me see if I'm seeing them. Oh, you guys are processing. Got it. I'm going to let you process for a minute. So I guess what I can do while you guys are processing is this. Watch my fall equinox video. It's good vibes. And when you watch it, do the activation, say those statements out loud. This is an evergreen video. What does that mean? Watch it every year to reset, to activate that letting go process. I filmed it 2 years ago, but the point of this video is every fall you watch it to kind of kick off that subconscious release of old patterns, things that you're releasing and letting go of to kind of shift into the new season. So really recommend that video. So anyway, is my ring malachite? Yes, it is malachite. I've been very drawn to malachite even before I did the crystal of the month of malachite back in May. Malachite is for your big breakthroughs in health, in career, in abundance. It's just something I've kept around me for quite a while now. It's actually one of the first crystals someone ever gave me was malachite, and I was taking a trip, and they said this is a traveler stone, along with moonstone, like we mentioned, right? Which is a traveler stone. So I definitely recommend malachite. If you want to call in a lot of abundance, breakthroughs, positive energy, where you place malachite in your house is very important. So point it at your front door, by your nightstand. That's going to bring in all that positive. Really, there's a better word. I'm trying to think of this word right now. I mean, we can just say abundant energy, prosperity. So that's why I work with malachite still. And, I am exploring working with it with moonstone. So I want to know actually too, I'm going to check in with you guys. I usually check in through my different stories and stuff, but I want to know which moonstone is you guys feel like is going to support you the most, because I don't really do this many variations of a crystal. You know what? It was better the other way, but you're going to see some cool stuff. So with that said, I will, good job, Shannon. I was about to cut this thing. Let's see here. First of all, Irma, thank you so much. Spot on. Grateful for this. I don't know if they're going to see these later, so I'm just going to read this out loud. I'm so grateful for this spot on energy update. You are already leaning into the energy you expanded on. First of all, thank you, Irma. And you know what, guys? Lean into what you are feeling. That's your intuition. That is really the big thing about fall, is leaning in to that energy and letting things kind of be natural and flowy. So there you go. So I want to answer Shannon's question. So let's see. Oh, how do you feel about fluorite? I have a new piece and wondering why I picked it up. Very drawn to its vibration. Gorgeous glacier blue. I love fluorite. It is something I channeled to be a crystal of the month coming up. I kind of looked at it and was like, okay, it's going to be fluorite unless I move it to something else. I usually have fluorite. Give me a sec. Okay. So I got some green fluorite right here. Absolutely love it. Obelisk, because of how just the way it's picking up energy too. And also, you point this away from you direct energy towards you, you're going to receive that energy too. So with fluorite, I absolutely love this. It is so, when I feel into fluorite, especially I have some that have like more purple in it, you get the energy protection, you get the expansiveness. If you're drawn to this, this is about your intuition too. This is about healing, a lot of healing you're calling into your life too. Absolutely love it. Let's see here, Nicole. Oh, what is good for spirit warriors? I love that question. I have a whole database of crystals in my head. I'm going to really tune into this for you for spirit warriors. Lapis lazuli, for sure. That was one of the big crystals of the month. No, slurring my words. I promise you, this is just water. Sorry about that. I started merging with the lapis. Lapis, moonstone, for sure. I think obsidian is really good too for spirit warriors because of like what you're forging and pushing forward with what you're creating, but also think of it like a shield. Um, and that's the energetic protection aspect of it. And obsidian was used in a lot of tombs of the pharaohs, along with lapis. And so like with that said, it is so highly valued for that spirit warrior energy. Turquoise as well. Turquoise has a lot of roots in Native American protection, obviously. That's going to be great for spirit warriors. I do like to, when I'm working with my clients, kind of tune in and have their higher self present a crystal that will support them. But those ones I mentioned are all really great places. If you want to bring some more astral elements, labradorite, smoky quartz, I have mentioned before briefly as a crystal of the month. I actually need to go into it as a whole entire crystal of the month, but smoky quartz too. Yeah, it's fierce. It's a good one. So great questions. Let's see. Should warrior spirit move forward, move forward or become patient observant? Ooh. Oh, Howlight's amazing. Okay, these are all good questions. Okay, let me feel into this. Should warrior spirit move forward or become patient observant? Well, it's whatever the warrior is being presented. That's why true warrior spirit is amazing because it's patient. It's not acting from this like aggression. It's not reacting. True warrior spirit feels that and goes, okay, they know the skill. They know how to be tactical, right? So I would say this, you're going to be patient observer until it's time to move. That's really warrior spirit. In itself, innately, I'm closing my eyes, which means I'm getting into it. The warrior spirit is going to move. That's action. You're a warrior spirit. You get stuff done. But the integrated conscious warrior spirit knows when to do it. So it really just depends on what's going on. Some of the strongest warriors are just sitting there in stillness. Their chi, their action comes in a completely different form. You might not like, people might not consider like a warrior. They might think someone who's like literally battling and fighting something. When I think of a warrior, I think of a Tibetan monk, so still, so in that space. So that's how you want to read it. You always want to read things as like, what's directly in front of me? What am I being asked to do? How is my warrior going to show up in that way? Now, if you are someone who is learning boundaries and you've been a people pleaser your whole life or in the fawn response your whole life, I would say warrior spirit's going to tell you to start activating that throat center and set those boundaries and push and move and be more in that action. So it can really depend, but it can be both. So that's my answer. What a great question. I love that. Do you guys have any other questions? I quickly dropped in on someone's comment here about Howlight. I mean, Howlight's amazing. Like there's so much going on with Howlight. You can tap into the energetic protection, the multidimensional features of it too. So I mean, truly, if you go in a crystal store and there's something you don't know, the color, the name, something is jumping out to you, that's what your field needs. That's how you want to pick them. I'm obviously doing a reading and saying, hey, we're going to talk about moonstone, but that's how you want to work with that. So, you guys, this was a very great live. Let me see what you're saying here. Yep. Leaning into the feeling. That is the theme. That is intuition. I want to thank you guys for joining me for this energy update. It was such a pleasure. Are you more excited about September? Like, do you feel a little bit more solid there? Like, do you feel solid there? Sorry, got distracted. I said solid. Do you feel like that mountain energy? Do you feel that stillness? Yeah, that's all what you cultivated in that one moment when you did that exercise with me. Lean in, feel into September that way, see what you need to do, release what you don't need. Such a pleasure. I appreciate you guys so much. I love you guys, and I will see you towards the end of the September when we jump in to the October energy update, which I already have the crystal for that. So I'm wishing you guys all the best. Have a beautiful rest of your Saturday. Thank you for choosing tonight to hang out with me, and I'll see you guys real soon.